Good Sunday afternoon, everyone. We're going to do a very fast update on Invest 97L, which truthfully is likely a tropical cyclone already out there off the coast of Africa, nearing the Cabo Verde Islands as we speak. Once I show you the satellite image on it, we've got a very tightly consolidated low-level spin and very good thunderstorms that continue to pop, even though we're in what's called diurnal minimum this afternoon. Typically, organizing tropical cyclones see their greatest intensification during the overnight hours. And the fact that this thing's held steady, fairly symmetrical, and really blossomed over the last 8 to 12 hours since the sun has come up is very telling. So we may even get the upgrade tonight upon you watching this video, if not during the early overnight hours of Monday. So thank you all very much for tuning in this Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. Thank you very much for all the generous support that you've shown to the channel over the last couple days. It's been a brutal last 7, to tell you the truth. If you're brand new to the channel, it would mean the world to all of us here in the Weather Center community if you kindly hit that subscribe button. Make sure you give that like button a little nudge. Let's get this information out there. This channel thrives off of your support. Get those likes up, please, if you could be so generous. Share this information with those you believe would benefit from it, and drop me a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I'm going to make it a point to get back to each and every single one of you. Stick around to the end. I have a little bit of a special message as well that I want to tell you. So with that being said, we're going to get right into it. So this is Invest 97L, and I'll take you full screen so you can get a better look. We're sitting at a 50-90 split, 50% chance over the next 48 hours, which I think is a little low, 90% over the next 7 days. And one thing I want to point out as well, if you look into the second portion of the verbiage here, even if a tropical depression does not form over the next day or so, environmental conditions appear very conducive for later development, and a tropical depression or tropical storm is likely to form. Now, that's why I think we're being a little steadfast in amping up these development chances, these formation chances. I personally would be at about a 70-80% over the next 2 days and crank this thing out to 100 in 7 days if we don't get the upgrade by tonight. Here's a quick look at your Goes East full disc satellite shot. We're using the infrared again because we got a couple things out here I want us to pay attention to. So first off, we've got a lot of action going on over the southeast United States. That is our tropical wave, the first one that we had started talking about almost 2 weeks ago. To put it into perspective how long it truly takes for these features to wander their way through the Atlantic when they come off the coast of Africa. So believe it or not, with 97L, what I think is going to be future Erin, we're going to spend a lot of time with it, and then what's back behind that we'll touch on very briefly in this video as well. I'm going to take you in for a bird's eye view of this tropical wave, because if you notice, got a pretty good anti-cyclone out there, a little bit of exhaust going on, and some really good thunderstorms firing over the bathwaters of the eastern Gulf, and some good thunderstorms firing up here in central Florida. It is overcast skies right now. I've been hearing thunder and lightning on and off all day today, and it was just raining about maybe 20-30 minutes ago before shooting this video. The rest of the Atlantic is fairly quiet. We've got a little bit of an upper low wandering through the portions of Turks and Caicos, Cuba, Jamaica getting in on some of the action. It's almost directly over you all in Jamaica. The western extent of that is pushing into the Cayman Islands, and we're also seeing some southerly flow ignite thunderstorms through Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. British Virgin Islands. That other weak area of vorticity that our models latched onto for a very small glimpse, a little whisper, if you will, I think earlier this past week, that's moving through the Windward Islands. Trinidad, Tobago, the Windward Islands of the Lesser Antilles are definitely seeing some showers and storms off of that. And then you're clear for the most part just upstream, your immediate east from there. That is 97L with another healthy wave getting ready to plop off of Africa. And then here is 96L. You can really see it becoming wrapped up in another upper low. That's the one that helped to yank it up and out of the MDR to begin with, a bit of a saving grace. And that's kind of what we're looking for with 97L. I'll talk to you about that here in a moment, but let's take in for a closer look. Very healthy system right now. I'm very surprised we haven't updated to a tropical depression at the least. I'll slow the loop down just a little bit, get my face out of the way so you all can see. These are your Cabo Verde Islands right there, and that big old puff of thunderstorms and those tall cumulonimbus towers there, that's where your low-level spin is. So don't be distracted too much by all the cloud decks to the south of this. That's portions of your ITCZ and the monsoon trough rolling back and peeling up alongside the vorticity that's associated with our low-level circulation of 97L. If you look through the tall clouds or the high clouds here, the cirrus, you can see your low-level spin right there really cranking. You've got some very good southerly flow on the east side of it, easterly flow on the north, northerly flow on the west, and so on and so forth, filling in that counterclockwise spin. So if we don't get a tropical depression by tonight, we're definitely going to see something tomorrow, without a doubt. Conditions are only going to continue to improve. And then here's a quick glance out there over the Gulf. So, it's kind of interesting. Doesn't quite look like it has a low-level spin out there, but you can definitely see the beginnings of what looks to be a mid-level spin right there in your mid-etage cloud cover, mid-etage, E-T-A-G-E. That's how we classify the different decks and the different layers of clouds. This is definitely a mid to upper-level feature there. I don't quite see anything happening in the low levels to suggest that we have a LLC beginning to form off the coast of Florida, but nonetheless, as it continues off towards the west-northwest, towards Louisiana portions of Mississippi into the central Gulf, where our waters are even more juiced than what we have right now, it'll be very interesting to see how this fares over the next 24 hours, because if you look at the way our upper level clouds are going, all the cirrus blow off from those thunderstorms popping off throughout the general area, there's your anticyclone. So we kind of have a bit of a stacking up almost that would suggest this tropical wave has at least a little bit more of a skeleton. Maybe not any meat on the bones, but definitely a skeleton worth at least keeping our eyes on for some enhanced thunderstorms, possible severe weather, and heavier rainfall along the Gulf Coast and the rest of us in Florida. All right, so since we last met, I'll tell you the truth. It's almost as if everything I briefed you during our live stream and the video prior collapsed. That's the good news. The bad news is the models are still struggling, and I won't necessarily say that's bad news since we have such a long time ahead of us with tracking this feature. We're going to get some good ace out of it, that is for certain. Without a doubt, this is going to bounce the season back. We're no longer going to be under that quiet spell, that's for sure. And then whatever takes place back behind that is only going to help rebound August, especially in comparison to last year, last hurricane season, 2024. We didn't have this aggressive of a pattern, this aggressive of a multitude of signals that we're going to continue to monitor. But in terms of the pattern, we're no longer seeing a North Atlantic oscillation that favors a positive to neutral. It almost looks like our deterministic models are thinking we're going to crash into a negative setup with upper level features going to help to block up the mid-latitude jet stream, the polar front jet, and our Atlantic high pressure, for some odd reason, has suddenly just disintegrated, and I can show you that later into the video. I personally don't want to bring it up because I think these track models here do a very good job of showing that. We're expecting a trough to more or less save the day and potentially pull this up towards Bermuda. I think the models may be a little zealous on trying to curve it initially, but we'll wait and see. A lot hinges on the fact that we're starting to see the consolidation of our circulation so far to the north. We're above 15 degrees north latitude, and it's only going to continue to get tugged further north from there. When it crosses 20 degrees latitude, that's going to pay dividends in where it goes and how fast or how slow it curves away down the road. It goes without saying, though, truthfully, you can pay no attention to the lesser models here. We are in very good agreement this will achieve hurricane status. We're going to wait and see if this makes it far enough to the west to really execute becoming a major hurricane, but that ceiling is most definitely still on the table, and I would not be surprised if that's what we see after a first couple of forecast cones from National Hurricane Center. The first one will probably have this thing etching into hurricane status, 75, 80 mile an hour peak, and then after a couple of advisories come out for it, I would not be surprised if we see it getting up to Category 2, borderline Category 3 strength, especially the further west this thing goes. Regardless of if it's curving early or moving more westward, it's going to find those very warm waters and very favorable conditions to just continue growing. Now, this is what I mean by models are struggling. I'll go ahead and turn you over and get you full screen again so we can take a look at these charts together. This is courtesy of our Super Ensembles page, and you can see that for the GFS, for example, we have a huge fanning out. Ensembles really struggle after days 3 and 4. Our computer models are also struggling with it as well. You come up here and you can see model intensity is a little all over the place as well, but generally suggesting we will receive a hurricane from this. We will observe a hurricane, I should say. And then as you go up towards the top here and you take a look at your ensembles, on the right-hand side is what I want you to look at. I'll go ahead and draw some arrows. The Ensemble track forecast, when you consolidate all the different computer models being put into this system, the Euro, the GFS, the Canadian, the UK, notice we have moderate confidence the first 3 days, and then we very quickly go into low confidence once we get outside the day 3 threshold. So while I'm not saying this is definitely something that could be detrimental to us, it's not something we want to take our eyes off just yet. You can see the ship's forecast here rapidly balloons this into a category 2 before it starts to slowly arc back towards the west-northwest as we get beyond 50, 55 west longitude. And you look at the line charts here, and the key takeaways here without getting too heavily into the weeds with you all is the more the lines go up, the better conditions you have. The only thing that looks to drop a little bit is your relative humidity. We start to dry out during the first couple days, and that's mainly because of that Saharan air layer that's still coming off of Africa. So we'll have to do battle with some dry air to the north, which is why I think the hurricane models are slow and steady to build this up into a hurricane. Tropical depression, tropical storm does not look difficult to achieve here, but then once we get past that balloon of Saharan air layer and those relative humidities, the precipitable water amounts can start to crank back up beyond 55, 60 west. Even the ship's guidance there, you can see we're off to the races at that point. Now, one thing I want to show you here is we're not fully in the clear or out of the woods for anybody in the Leeward Islands, the Greater Antilles, the Bahamas, or anyone on the east coast of the United States. Confidence is building, and we're about 50% of the way there, suggesting this will curve away from a United States landfall. But if you go out in time looking at our Euro ensembles, this is after the 12Z was fully populated, look at the spread that we still have here. And this is just outside 7 days. So first off, make sure you digest that. We have 7 days before this thing gets within that window of opportunity to start to lift away from us or possibly continues to move westward. A lot can change in 7 days. And I don't want to sound like Mr. Doom and Gloom because I've seen some of the comments, but I'm just saying, with that big of a spread, I'm not confident in putting all my eggs into one basket just yet. And that's what I'm here for you all. I want to make sure I keep you all up to date on these little nuances and the trends. And like I said, not only are we trending towards a less conducive long-range setup for a big landfall, but the kicker to that is we're seeing more of our mid-latitude features. If you all recall during the live stream, I'd mentioned it's not going to be the big picture pattern. It's going to be the little nuances, the little monkeys in the wrench, if you will, the smaller features that will dictate where this goes. After you get beyond day 7, look at the enormous spread here. You still have ensembles plastering Florida, the Florida Straits, the mid-Atlantic, all the way up towards the northeast and Atlantic Canada for a potential landfall. And then beyond that, we still have more to watch. We may even get another area of interest out there courtesy of National Hurricane Center within the next 2 to 3 days. Maybe as we go through the first half of the first full school week of the year coming up. School begins on August 11th. Tomorrow's the first day back to school. So this is definitely going to put some pressure on a lot of us to get these forecasts correct. The AI model is still a bit of an island, to tell you the truth. The AI model thinks this is still capable of making a very close pass to Florida. You take a look at these ensembles, and again, notice how we are very tightly wrapped until about 60 west. Then that bifurcation, the spread, not only in terms of forward speed, but steering really becomes an issue. And that's why, especially on the ship's guidance there and the ensemble confidence, in that chart breakdown, it shows confidence goes way down after 3, 4, 5, and especially 7 days. We see a huge divergence in our ensembles, but notice the AI model does think, like our initial thinking we had mentioned in the last video update and during our live discussion, this could make a closer run to the United States. I'm not going to put any states out there, just saying the eastern seaboard of the United States, let alone North America, because we're including Canada in there as well and Bermuda. We're not going to forget about you all either. If this curves sooner than later, you may have a hurricane, let alone a major, headed your way, so we're going to pay close attention for everybody that this could influence. And then continuing to see steady upticking in upstream ensemble members. This is the 25th of August. I think right about between the 23rd and the 25th of August, the basin's going to shut off again. It's going to shut off again, and we're going to see a suppressed piece of Kelvin activity, Kelvin wave propagation through the basin. You can see it right here. After this pass of the MJO, we've got some very strong sinking that's going to be right behind it, hot on its heels. And right after the 21st or the 23rd, probably the latest, the 25th, after we get that next couple of waves off of Africa through the Atlantic, we're going to shut down for a little bit until maybe the first 7 or 10 days of September have gone by, and then we're going to crank right back up. So that'll do it. Thank you very much for watching today. Maybe a little bit longer than I wanted to go, but you know me. I love to talk weather. I want to get you all the information, lay my thoughts out on the table so you all are on the same page as I am. And then we'll see you again tomorrow. I'll be doing another update for you all, especially as we get into Monday. If we get an upgrade tonight, definitely going to put out a video. And so now if you're still watching, if you hung around to the end of the video, I sincerely thank you for that. I just want to say, with everything that's been happening, I don't know if it's picking up on camera. You may not be able to see it, but AC is still out. It turns out we got an update as well. A gentleman came out, got a second opinion on the situation, and it sounds like there was a massive premature failure in one of the underground AC lines. So not only is it going to be an expensive project to get this house back up and running, but it's going to be a doozy of one. And the heat's not going away. Still going to have to talk tropics with you all. Still have a lot going on behind the scenes, and I can't just focus on that. And I wanted to take some time, if you're still watching, that is, because I know the real ones out there are still watching. And for those of you who may be brand new to the channel, who stuck around to the end, my heart goes out to all of you as well, but I cannot thank you enough. I'm trying to hold it back right now, but I can't thank you enough for the support. The support, the love, the generosity. It goes a long way. It really does. That's what this community is all about. That's why I keep coming back to you all, and that's why I work so hard to give you all the content that you need to stay safe and to stay up to date on what happens out there. I do it from the bottom of my heart, and I can see you guys are extending the same generosity to me, and it means so much with the amount of pressure that's on my shoulders on a regular basis. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't say that enough, and I wish I could do more than just simply talk into a mic and look into a camera for you all. But I just wanted to make sure to get that out there to you all, and I'm not going to ignore the comments, the donations, everything that you've thrown at me, the trust, the confidence that you put in me giving you this weather information. It means the world. This is my dream, and I'm going to keep cranking it out no matter what obstacles and speed bumps come my way. Regardless, I'm always going to be here for you all. And so, as we close on that note, I hope that you've had a fantastic weekend. I hope that you stay safe out there. School, whoever's going back to school starting tomorrow, good luck. Congratulations on the next step, another milestone. I applaud you from the sidelines, and we're going to be cheering on all of you out there as we all begin a new chapter and we get closer and closer to the holidays. We got a lot of good things to look forward to, but we got to stay on top of the tropics, and you can count on the Weather Center to do that. And so, we'll see you next time. This is Weather Center Nazario, signing out.